The music stopped, but her heart kept pounding, a rhythm she couldn't silence. Ellie Harper stood frozen on the worn wooden floor of the dance studio, her breath catching as she locked eyes with Mia Alvarez across the room. In that fleeting second, the world shrank to just them, two souls tangled in a truth Ellie had buried for years. It was the summer of 2018, and Ellie, barely 18, had lied to get here. Harmony Dance Camp, a prestigious retreat nestled in the green hills of upstate New York, was her ticket out of her small, suffocating town in Ohio. The application asked about her identity, a box to check: straight, gay, or other. She'd hesitated, her pen hovering over other, her truth clawing at her chest. But fear won. She checked straight, sealed the envelope, and prayed no one would dig deeper. The camp, known for its inclusivity, had a strict policy. Only those open about their identities could join, a rule meant to foster trust. Ellie's lie was her betrayal, but also her escape. She wasn't ready to face herself, not then. Growing up in a town where whispers about those kinds of people carried like wildfire, Ellie had learned to hide. Her mother's sharp words still echoed. "You're not like that, Eleanor. You're normal." So she buried her feelings, dated boys she didn't love, and played the part of the perfect daughter. But dance was her freedom, her truth in motion, and harmony was her dream. The camp was everything she'd imagined: sprawling meadows, cabins buzzing with laughter, and dancers from every corner of the country. Ellie arrived with her duffel bag and a carefully crafted mask. She was the girl who laughed easily, who flirted with the boys, who never let her gaze linger too long on anyone, especially not Mia. Mia Alvarez was impossible to ignore. At 19, she was all fire and grace, with long black hair that spilled over her shoulders and eyes that seemed to see through people. She moved like she owned the music, her body telling stories Ellie could only dream of expressing. Mia was openly queer, unapologetic, and the camp's unofficial star. Everyone gravitated toward her, but Ellie kept her distance, terrified of what Mia's gaze might unravel. Their first real encounter came during a group choreography session. The instructor paired them for a contemporary piece, a duet that demanded trust. Ellie's palms sweated as Mia's hand brushed hers during a lift. "You're stiff," Mia said, her voice low, teasing. "Relax, Harper. I've got you." Ellie nodded, her throat tight, but her body betrayed her with a shiver. Mia noticed. She always noticed. As weeks passed, the lie grew heavier. Ellie laughed at Mia's jokes, joined her for late-night talks by the campfire, and felt the pull between them strengthen. One night, under a sky thick with stars, Mia asked, "Why do you hold back, Ellie? You're hiding something." Ellie's heart raced. She wanted to confess, not just the lie on the application, but the deeper truth, that every time Mia smiled, Ellie's world tilted. Instead, she mumbled, "I'm just shy," and changed the subject. The camp's final showcase loomed, a performance that could catch the eye of scouts from top dance companies. Ellie and Mia's duet was the centerpiece, a piece about longing and discovery. Rehearsals were intense, their bodies moving in sync, their chemistry undeniable. Offstage, though, Ellie's walls stayed up. She overheard Mia talking to another camper about trust, about how lies could break a team. The words cut deep. Ellie knew she was living on borrowed time. The night before the showcase, Mia cornered her in the empty studio. "What's with you, Ellie?" she asked, her voice sharp but laced with concern. "You're here, but you're not here." Ellie's chest tightened. She wanted to spill everything, her fear, her lie, her feelings, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, she fled, leaving Mia standing alone under the dim lights. The showcase was a blur. Their duet was flawless, the audience enraptured, but Ellie felt like a fraud. As the music faded and the crowd roared, Mia grabbed her hand, pulling her close for the final pose. Their faces were inches apart, and for a moment, Ellie thought Mia might kiss her. But Mia's eyes held something else, disappointment. "You're not who you say you are," she whispered before walking off stage. Ellie left camp the next day, her lie intact but her heart in pieces. She told herself it was better this way. Mia deserved someone honest, someone brave. Back in Ohio, Ellie threw herself into college, dance auditions, anything to forget. But Mia's face haunted her, a reminder of the truth she'd run from. Years passed. Ellie built a life in Chicago, teaching dance to kids and avoiding relationships that asked too much of her heart. She told herself she was fine, that the lie at camp was just a youthful mistake. But late at night, when the world was quiet, she'd search Mia's name online. Mia had made it, dancing with a renowned company in New York, her name in headlines, her life as bold as ever. Ellie ached, wondering if Mia ever thought of her. Then, in the spring of 2025, an email arrived. Harmony Dance Camp was hosting a reunion, a weekend to reconnect and perform. Mia would be there leading a workshop. Ellie's hands trembled as she read the invitation. She could stay away, keep her secret buried. Or she could go back, face Mia, and finally tell the truth. She booked the ticket. The train to upstate New York rattled along, each clack of the wheels echoing Ellie's racing heartbeat. She stared out the window, the blur of green hills stirring memories of that summer 7 years ago. She was 25 now, no longer the scared girl who lied to fit in, but the weight of that lie still clung to her like damp clothes after a storm. Chicago had been her fresh start, a city big enough to lose herself in. She taught dance at a community center, her classes filled with kids who reminded her of her younger self, eager, uncertain, searching for a place to belong. But every time she corrected a student's form or choreographed a new piece, she saw Mia's shadow in her movements. Mia's confidence, her fire, had shaped Ellie more than she'd ever admitted. The reunion was her chance to make things right, or to finally let go. Harmony Dance Camp hadn't changed much. The cabin still stood in neat rows, the air thick with the scent of pine and possibility. Ellie arrived late in the afternoon, her stomach knotted as she scanned the crowd of familiar faces. Some greeted her warmly, others barely remembered her, but her eyes searched for one person. Mia was nowhere in sight. The first evening was a casual mixer, fairy lights strung across the main lawn where campers, now adults, laughed and swapped stories. Ellie lingered on the edges, sipping a lukewarm soda, her nerves fraying. Then she heard it. That laugh, rich and unguarded, cutting through the chatter. Mia stood near the bonfire, her hair shorter now, her presence still magnetic. She was talking to a group, her hands animated, her smile wide. Ellie's breath caught. She wasn't ready. But Mia's eyes found her first. Their gazes locked, and the years melted away. Mia excused herself from the group and walked over, her stride confident, but her expression unreadable. "Ellie Harper," she said, her voice a mix of surprise and something sharper. "Didn't think you'd show." Ellie forced a smile, her throat dry. Couldn't miss it. She wanted to say more, to apologize, to explain, but the words tangled in her chest. Mia tilted her head, studying her like she was a puzzle with missing pieces. "You look different," Mia said finally, less guarded. "You look the same," Ellie replied, then winced. It wasn't true. Mia was more polished now, her edges softened by success, but that fire still burned in her eyes. "I mean, you look good." Mia's lips twitched, almost a smile. "Come to my workshop tomorrow. I'm teaching a new piece. You still dance, right?" Ellie nodded, her heart thudding. "Every day." "Good," Mia said, her tone clipped. "Don't hold back this time." She turned and walked away, leaving Ellie standing alone, her past and present colliding. The next morning, Ellie joined Mia's workshop in the main studio. The room buzzed with dancers, some old campers, some new faces. Mia stood at the front, commanding attention as she explained the piece, a duet about trust and vulnerability. Ellie's stomach dropped. Of course it was a duet. Mia paired the dancers, and when she called Ellie's name, her partner was a stranger, a kind-faced woman named Sarah. Relief and disappointment warred in Ellie's chest. She wanted Mia as her partner, but the thought terrified her. The choreography was intimate, requiring close contact, shared breaths, and unspoken trust. Ellie stumbled through the first run, her mind stuck on Mia's watchful gaze. "Ellie, you're overthinking," Mia called out, her voice firm but not unkind. "Feel the music. Let go." Ellie flushed, nodding, but letting go felt like stepping off a cliff. She glanced at Mia, who was demonstrating a lift with another dancer, her hands steady, her movements effortless. Ellie's heart ached with a mix of admiration and regret. Over the next few hours, Ellie found her rhythm, her body remembering what her mind tried to suppress. Sarah was a good partner, patient and encouraging, but Ellie's eyes kept drifting to Mia. During a break, Mia approached her, wiping sweat from her brow. "You're better than I remember," she said, her tone softer now. "But you're still holding something back." Ellie swallowed hard. "I'm trying." "Try harder," Mia said, her eyes searching Ellie's. "You owe yourself that much." That night, Ellie couldn't sleep. She slipped out of her cabin and wandered to the lake, the water reflecting a crescent moon. She sat on the dock, her feet dangling, and let the memories flood back. Every glance, every touch, every moment she'd pushed Mia away. She'd lied to get into camp, but the bigger lie was to herself, denying who she was and what she felt. Footsteps creaked on the dock behind her. She turned to see Mia, her silhouette framed by moonlight. "Couldn't sleep either?" Mia asked, sitting beside her without waiting for an invitation. Ellie shook her head. "Too many ghosts." Mia chuckled softly. "This place does that to you." She paused, her voice dropping. "Why'd you come back, Ellie?" "Really?" Ellie's chest tightened. She could lie again, brush it off, but the weight of 7 years pressed down on her. "I came to see you," she said quietly. "To fix things." Mia's eyes narrowed, but she didn't speak. The silence stretched, heavy with unspoken questions. Ellie took a breath, her voice trembling. "I lied, Mia. Back then. On the application. I checked straight because I was scared. I wasn't ready to admit who I am." Mia's expression shifted, a flicker of hurt crossing her face. "You lied to get in?" Ellie nodded, tears stinging her eyes. "And I lied to you. Every time I pulled away, every time I acted like I didn't." She stopped, her voice breaking. "I was in love with you, Mia. And I was too afraid to say it." The words hung between them, raw and exposed. Mia stared at her, her jaw tight, her eyes unreadable. For a moment, Ellie thought she'd walk away again. But Mia stayed, her silence louder than the lake's gentle ripples. The lake shimmered under the moonlight, but the air between Ellie and Mia felt heavy, charged with the weight of Ellie's confession. Mia's silence stretched on, her gaze fixed on the water, her hands clenched in her lap. Ellie's heart pounded, each second of quiet slicing deeper than any words could. Finally, Mia spoke, her voice low and measured. "You were in love with me." It wasn't a question, but a statement, as if she were testing the words for truth. "And you lied about it." "For years." Ellie's throat burned. "I didn't know how to be honest. Not then. I was scared of my family, of myself, of losing everything." She looked at Mia, desperate for her to understand. "I grew up in a place where being like us wasn't okay. I thought if I kept pretending, it'd go away." Mia's eyes flicked to her, sharp and searching. "Did it?" Ellie shook her head, a tear slipping down her cheek. "No, it never did." Mia exhaled, her shoulders softening slightly. "You hurt me, Ellie. That summer, I felt something with you. Something real. But you kept shutting me out and I thought," she stopped, her voice catching. "I thought I was imagining it. That I was wrong about you." "You weren't wrong," Ellie whispered. "I was just a coward." Mia's lips pressed into a thin line, and she looked away again. I spent years wondering what I did wrong. Why you ran from me after the showcase. And now you're telling me it was because you loved me? Her voice cracked, a mix of anger and pain. Do you know how hard it was to trust anyone after that? Ellie's chest ached. She wanted to reach out, to touch Mia's hand, but she didn't dare. I'm so sorry, Mia. I didn't know how to be me back then. But I'm here now, and I'm trying to make it right. Mia stood abruptly, brushing her hands on her jeans. I need time to process this, she said, her tone clipped. Don't follow me. She walked away, her footsteps fading into the night, leaving Ellie alone with the weight of her words. The next day, the reunion's energy felt different, charged, electric, but for Ellie, it was a haze of guilt and hope. Mia's workshop continued, and Ellie threw herself into the choreography, desperate to prove she wasn't hiding anymore. The duet with Sarah felt more natural now, her movements freer, but her eyes kept finding Mia, who watched from the front with an unreadable expression. During a break, Sarah nudged her. You okay? You seem distracted. Ellie forced a smile. Just working through some stuff. Sarah followed her gaze to Mia, who was adjusting another dancer's form. You too have history, don't you? Ellie hesitated, then nodded.
Yeah.
Complicated history. Sarah gave her a knowing look. Figured out. Life's too short for regrets. The word stuck with Ellie as the day wore on. By evening, the camp was preparing for a casual performance, a chance for everyone to share what they'd worked on. Mia announced she'd be performing a solo, something she'd choreographed for the reunion. Ellie's stomach twisted. She knew Mia's solos were personal, raw, a window into her soul. The performance was held outside, under a canopy of stars. Mia took the stage, a simple wooden platform lit by lanterns, and the music began, a haunting piano melody. Her movements were fierce yet fragile, each step a story of heartbreak and resilience. Ellie watched, mesmerized, her throat tight. She saw herself in Mia's dance, the push and pull, the fear, the longing. When the music stopped, the crowd erupted, but Mia's eyes found Ellie's, and for a moment, it was just them again. Afterward, Ellie found Mia by the campfire, away from the crowd. That was incredible, Ellie said, her voice soft. It felt personal. Mia nodded, her expression guarded. It was about trust. About what happens when it's broken. Ellie's heart sank. Mia, Don't. Mia cut her off, her voice firm but not cruel. I heard you last night. I get why you lied. But it doesn't erase what it did to me. She paused, her eyes softening. I just need to know you're not going to run again. I'm not, Ellie said, her voice steady despite the tears threatening to spill. I'm here. For real this time. Mia studied her, then nodded slowly. Prove it. Dance with me tomorrow. A new duet. Just us. Ellie's breath caught. A duet with Mia meant vulnerability, trust, everything she'd avoided 7 years ago. But she nodded. Okay. The next morning, they met in the studio, just the two of them. Mia played a soft, soulful track, and they began to choreograph. Their movements were tentative at first, each step a test of trust. Mia's hand on Ellie's waist, Ellie's fingers brushing Mia's arm. It was electric, terrifying, alive. They didn't speak much, letting their bodies say what words couldn't. As they worked, Ellie felt the walls she'd built crumbling. Mia's touch wasn't just professional, it lingered, intentional, pulling Ellie closer. During a break, Mia sat cross-legged on the floor, her eyes meeting Ellie's. You're different now, she said. Braver. I'm trying to be, Ellie admitted. I don't want to hide anymore. Mia smiled, small but genuine. Good. Because I'm not letting you off easy. By the end of the day, their duet was taking shape, a story of two people finding each other, losing each other, and fighting to reconnect. Ellie felt exposed, but for the first time, she didn't want to run. That night, as they left the studio, Mia's hand brushed hers, and she didn't pull away. The studio was quiet, save for the soft creak of the wooden floor as Ellie and Mia moved together, their duet evolving into something raw and unspoken. Each lift, each turn, felt like a conversation, one where Ellie was finally honest. Mia's hands were steady, guiding her through the steps, but her eyes held a question. Can I trust you now? They rehearsed late into the night, the rest of the camp asleep. The music looped, a soulful melody that wrapped around them like a cocoon. Ellie felt every note, every movement, pulling her closer to Mia. During a particularly close sequence, their faces inches apart, Mia whispered, "You're not holding back anymore." Ellie's heart raced. "I don't want to." Mia's lips curved, a flicker of the old fire in her eyes. Good. The reunion's final performance was 2 days away, and their duet was the centerpiece. The pressure was immense, not just to perform well, but to prove to each other that this time was different. Ellie felt the weight of it, but also a strange freedom. She wasn't pretending anymore. Every step with Mia was a step toward herself. Outside of rehearsals, the camp buzzed with activity, but Ellie and Mia carved out moments alone. They walked the trails, sat by the lake, and really talked for the first time in years. Mia shared stories of her career, the highs of performing on global stages, the lows of loneliness. Ellie opened up about her life in Chicago, her students, and the quiet ache of living half a truth. One afternoon, as they sat on a hill overlooking the camp, Mia asked, "When did you know? About yourself, I mean." Ellie picked at the grass, her voice soft. "I think I always knew. But that summer here with you, it was the first time I couldn't ignore it."
You scared me, Mia.
"Not because of you, but because of what you made me feel." Mia's expression softened. "You scare me too. I thought I was crazy for falling for someone who kept pushing me away." Ellie's chest tightened. "You fell for me?" Mia laughed, a little bitter, a little warm. "Oh, come on, Ellie. You had to know. I wasn't exactly subtle." Ellie blushed, looking away. "I didn't trust myself to believe it." Mia reached for her hand, her touch gentle but firm. "Believe it now." The moment hung between them, fragile and electric. Ellie wanted to lean in, to close the distance, but fear still lingered. Not of Mia, but of what came next. Could she be enough? Could she stay brave? Mia's thumb brushed over her knuckles, and Ellie felt her resolve strengthen. She squeezed Mia's hand back. The night before the performance, the camp hosted a talent show, a light-hearted tradition. Ellie and Mia didn't perform, choosing to save their duet for the main event, but they sat together in the back, their shoulders brushing. When a young camper, barely 16, took the stage to share a poem about her own coming out, Ellie felt tears prick her eyes. Mia's hand found hers under the table, a silent anchor. After the show, they lingered outside, the air cool and crisp. "That kid's braver than I was at her age," Ellie said, her voice thick. Mia nodded. "She's got a community here. That makes a difference." Ellie turned to her, her heart full. "You made a difference for me, Mia, even if I didn't show it back then." Mia's eyes softened, but she didn't reply. Instead, she stepped closer, her hand cupping Ellie's cheek. The world stilled. Mia leaned in, her lips brushing Ellie's in a kiss that was soft, tentative, but full of promise. Ellie melted into it, her fears dissolving in the warmth of Mia's touch. When they pulled apart, Mia smiled. "No more running, okay?" "Okay," Ellie whispered, her voice steady. The day of the performance arrived, a bright June morning that felt like a new beginning. The stage was set up outside, the audience a mix of campers, alumni, and local supporters. Ellie's nerves buzzed, but Mia's presence grounded her. They warmed up together, their movements synchronized, their trust unspoken but palpable. As they took the stage, the music began, a slow, emotive track that built into something powerful. Their duet told a story of struggle, separation, and reunion. Ellie poured herself into every step, her body saying what words never could. Mia matched her, their chemistry electric, drawing gasps from the crowd. In the final moment, A lift that left Ellie cradled in Mia's arms, their eyes locked, and Ellie felt whole. The applause was deafening, but Ellie barely heard it. Mia's smile was all she saw. As they bowed, Mia whispered, "You did it." Backstage, breathless and exhilarated, Ellie grabbed Mia's hand. "We did it." Mia grinned, pulling her close. "Yeah, we did." That night, as the camp celebrated, Ellie and Mia slipped away to the lake. They sat on the dock, their feet in the water, the stars above them endless. Ellie felt lighter than she ever had, her truth no longer a secret but a gift. The lake's surface rippled under the starlight, reflecting Ellie's newfound clarity. Sitting beside Mia, their shoulders touching, she felt the weight of her past lift, replaced by something fragile but real: hope. For the first time, Ellie wasn't running from herself or Mia. She was exactly where she wanted to be. The reunion's final day loomed, and with it, the reality of leaving Harmony. Ellie's life waited in Chicago, her students, her apartment, her routine. But the thought of parting from Mia felt like losing a piece of herself. Mia, too, seemed quieter, her usual fire tempered by something unspoken. They hadn't talked about what came next, and the uncertainty gnawed at Ellie. That morning, they joined a group hike through the camp's trails, the air filled with laughter and nostalgia. Ellie and Mia lagged behind, their hands brushing as they walked. "What happens when we leave?" Ellie asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Mia glanced at her, her expression unreadable. "What do you want to happen?" Ellie's heart thudded. "I want us. Whatever that looks like. But I'm scared, Mia. I've never done this before." Mia stopped walking, turning to face her. "You think I'm not scared? I've built a life in New York, Ellie. My career, my friends, it's all there. But you," she paused, her voice softening. "You make me want to risk it." Ellie's breath caught. "Risk what?" "Everything," Mia said simply. "I don't want to lose you again." The words hit Ellie like a wave, washing away her doubts. She reached for Mia's hand, intertwining their fingers. "Then we figured out. Together." Mia smiled, a mix of relief and determination. Together. The rest of the day passed in a blur of final workshops and goodbyes. Ellie felt a pang watching campers pack up, their faces glowing with the same hope she'd felt 7 years ago. She and Mia stole moments alone, a shared glance during lunch, a quiet laugh in the studio. But the clock was ticking. By evening, they were back at the lake, their spot, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of pink and gold. "I'm not good at long distance," Mia admitted, her voice low. "But I'm willing to try. For you." Ellie's chest tightened. "I'll come to New York. Or you can visit Chicago. We'll make it work." Mia raised an eyebrow, teasing. "You? In New York? You'd hate the crowds." Ellie laughed, nudging her. "I'd survive. For you." Mia's smile faded into something serious. "You mean it, don't you?" "More than anything," Ellie said, her voice steady. Mia leaned in, kissing her softly, and Ellie felt the world fall away. It was a promise, a beginning, sealed under the fading light. The next morning, as campers boarded buses and said tearful goodbyes, Ellie and Mia lingered by the main cabin. Mia's flight to New York was in a few hours. Ellie's train to Chicago left soon after. They stood close, their hands clasped, neither wanting to let go. "Call me when you land," Ellie said, her voice thick. Mia nodded. "And you text me when you're home. Deal?"
Deal.
Ellie hesitated, then pulled Mia into a tight hug. "I'm not running anymore." Mia's arms tightened around her.
Good.
"Because I'm not letting you." They parted with a final kiss, bittersweet but full of promise. As Ellie boarded her train, she felt a strange peace. The lie that had brought her to Harmony all those years ago had unraveled, but in its place was something stronger, her truth and Mia's. Back in Chicago, Ellie threw herself into her work with renewed energy. Her students noticed the change. teasing her about her glow. She laughed it off, but every text from Mia, every late-night call, made her feel alive. They planned visits, juggling schedules and time zones, determined to keep their connection alive. One evening, as Ellie scrolled through her phone, a notification popped up, an email from Harmony's organizers. They were launching a new program, a mentorship for young dancers, and they wanted Ellie and Mia to co-lead it next summer. Ellie's heart raced as she called Mia, her voice bubbling with excitement. "Did you see the email?" Mia laughed on the other end. "Just read it. You in?" "Only if you are," Ellie said, grinning. "Then it's a date," Mia replied, her voice warm. As they talked, Ellie looked out her apartment window at the Chicago skyline, the city lights blurring into stars. She thought of that summer 7 years ago, of the girl who lied to fit in, and the woman she'd become, brave, honest, in love. The lie had brought her to Harmony, but the truth had brought her to Mia. Ellie's apartment in Chicago felt smaller now, not in size but in scope. The walls, once a refuge, seemed to close in as her thoughts drifted to Mia, to New York, to the life they were trying to build across miles. Their late-night calls were a lifeline, Mia's voice, warm and teasing, pulling Ellie through the weeks apart, but the distance was a constant ache. Their first visit came a month after the reunion. Mia flew to Chicago, her suitcase stuffed with dance gear and a grin that lit up O'Hare Airport. Ellie met her at the gate, her heart pounding as Mia pulled her into a hug that felt like coming home. "Missed you," Mia murmured, her breath warm against Ellie's ear. "Missed you more," Ellie said, her voice muffled against Mia's shoulder. They spent the weekend exploring Chicago, wandering through Millennium Park, sharing deep-dish pizza, stealing kisses in quiet corners. Mia joined one of Ellie's dance classes, charming the kids with her energy and skill. Watching her, Ellie felt a surge of pride and something deeper, certainty. This was what she wanted, who she wanted. But the weekend ended too soon. At the airport, Mia's eyes were glossy as she hugged Ellie goodbye. "Next time, you're coming to New York," she said, her tone firm but playful. "Promise," Ellie said, her throat tight. As Mia's plane took off, Ellie felt a familiar pang of fear. Could they make this work? But she pushed it down, clinging to the memory of Mia's smile. Back in her routine, Ellie poured her energy into her students, but her mind was on the mentorship program. She and Mia had accepted the offer from Harmony, spending late nights on video calls planning workshops, choreographing pieces, and dreaming up ways to inspire young dancers. The program was a chance to give back, to create the safe space Ellie had needed at 18. It was also a chance to be with Mia, to build something together. In December, Ellie flew to New York. Mia's apartment in Brooklyn was small but vibrant, filled with plants and dance posters. Ellie felt out of place at first, the city's chaos overwhelming, but Mia was her anchor. They spent days exploring coffee shops, dance studios, quiet parks, and nights tangled in each other's arms, talking about everything and nothing. One evening, as snow dusted the city, Mia took Ellie to a rooftop bar with a view of the skyline. They sipped hot cider, their gloved hands intertwined. "I want you here," Mia said suddenly, her voice soft but serious. "Not just for visits. For real." Ellie's heart skipped. "You mean move here?" Mia nodded, her eyes searching Ellie's. "I know it's a lot. Your life's in Chicago, your kids. But I'm selfish, Ellie. I want you with me." Ellie looked out at the glittering city, her mind racing. Leaving Chicago meant leaving her students, her stability, everything she'd built. But staying meant a half-life, always missing Mia. "I need time to think," she said finally, her voice steady. Mia squeezed her hand. "Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere." The rest of the visit was bittersweet, each moment tinged with the weight of the decision. Ellie returned to Chicago with a heavy heart, her thoughts a tangle of love and fear. She threw herself into her work, but Mia's words echoed. "I want you with me." Weeks turned into months, their relationship sustained by calls, texts, and stolen weekends. In March, Ellie's students put on a spring showcase, a riot of color and energy. Mia surprised her by flying in, sitting in the front row with a proud smile. After the show, one of Ellie's students, a shy girl named Lila, tugged at her sleeve. "Is that your girlfriend?" she asked, her eyes wide. Ellie hesitated, then smiled. "Yeah, she is." Lila grinned. "She's cool." Mia overheard, laughing as she joined them. "You're pretty cool yourself, kid." That night, as they lay in Ellie's bed, Mia traced circles on her palm. "You're happy here, aren't you?" she asked. "I am," Ellie admitted. "But I'm happier with you." Mia's eyes softened. "Then come to New York. We'll figure out together." Ellie took a deep breath, the decision crystallizing. "Okay, I'll do it." Mia's face lit up, and she kissed Ellie fiercely, sealing the choice. The next morning, they started planning. Ellie would finish the school year, then move in the summer. It was terrifying, exhilarating, real. As spring bloomed, Ellie began preparing for the move. She told her students, who were tearful but supportive, promising to visit. She packed her life into boxes, each one a step toward a new beginning. By June, she was ready. The mentorship program at Harmony was their first test as a team. They arrived at camp together, their hands linked, no secrets between them. The young dancers looked up to them, their energy infectious. Ellie felt a sense of purpose she'd never known, teaching alongside Mia, their love woven into every step they taught. Harmony Dance Camp buzzed with new faces, young dancers wide-eyed and eager, just as Ellie had been 7 years ago. Standing beside Mia, leading their first workshop, Ellie felt a surge of pride, not just in their work, but in who they'd become together. Their love, once a secret buried under lies, was now an open flame, warming everyone around them. The mentorship program was intense, a whirlwind of choreography, workshops, and late-night planning sessions. Ellie and Mia were a team, their strengths complementary. Mia's bold creativity sparking ideas, Ellie's patience grounding the chaos. The campers, aged 14 to 18, were a mix of backgrounds, many grappling with their own identities. Ellie saw herself in their hesitant smiles, their guarded eyes, and made it her mission to show them they were enough. One camper, a 15-year-old named Jada, reminded Ellie of her younger self. Jada was quiet, her movements precise but restrained, as if she were holding something back. During a break, Ellie sat with her, offering a gentle smile. "You're really talented, Jada. What's stopping you from letting go?" Jada shrugged, her eyes on the floor. "I don't know. I just don't want people to see me." "Not really." Ellie's heart ached. "I get it. I used to hide too. But the right people? They'll love the real you." Jada looked up, her expression wary but curious. "Did you ever hide who you are?" Ellie nodded, her voice soft. "For a long time. But someone helped me be brave." She glanced at Mia, who was laughing with another camper across the room. And it changed everything. Jada's eyes followed Ellie's, and a small smile broke through. "You and Mia are like goals." Ellie laughed, her cheeks warm. "We're figuring it out. But yeah, she's pretty great." As the weeks passed, Ellie and Mia settled into a rhythm. They taught by day, choreographing a group piece that wove together the campers' stories, and spent evenings by the lake, their love growing stronger in the quiet moments. But the real world loomed. Ellie's move to New York was weeks away, and with it came new uncertainties. One night, as they sat on the dock, Mia's voice was quieter than usual. "You sure about New York? It's not Chicago. It's loud, chaotic. You might hate it." Ellie took her hand, her thumb brushing over Mia's knuckles. "I won't hate it. Not with you." Mia's eyes searched hers. "I just don't want you to regret this. Uprooting your life for me." "I'm not," Ellie said firmly. "I'm doing this for us. For me, too. I want to be where you are." Mia leaned in, kissing her softly, and Ellie felt the last of her fears dissolve. They were building something real, something worth the risk. The camp's final showcase was a celebration, the outdoor stage alive with music and movement. Jada's performance was a breakthrough, her movements bold and unguarded, earning cheers from the crowd. Ellie and Mia's group piece was the finale, a vibrant tapestry of the campers' stories, ending with a duet between the two of them. As they danced, Ellie felt every moment of their journey, the lies, the pain, the love, woven into their steps. The crowd roared, but Ellie's world was Mia's eyes, bright and unwavering. After the show, Jada ran up to them, her face glowing. "Thank you," she said, hugging Ellie tightly. "I think I can be myself now." Ellie's throat tightened. "You already are." As the campers dispersed, Ellie and Mia stayed behind, cleaning up the stage. Mia nudged her, a playful grin on her face. "You're good at this, you know. Teaching, inspiring. You should do it in New York." Ellie raised an eyebrow. "You trying to get me a job already?" Mia laughed. "Maybe. I just want you to be happy." "I am," Ellie said, her voice steady. "Happier than I've ever been." The last day of camp was bittersweet. Ellie and Mia said goodbye to the campers, promising to stay in touch. As they packed their bags, Ellie felt a pang of nostalgia. This place had changed her, twice now. But she wasn't the scared girl who'd lied to get in. She was someone new, someone whole. They drove to New York together, Ellie's belongings crammed into a rental car. The city loomed ahead, daunting but full of possibility. Mia reached for her hand, squeezing it. "Ready for this?" Ellie smiled, her heart full. "Ready." They arrived at Mia's apartment as the sun set, the skyline glowing through the window. Ellie felt a rush of nerves, but Mia's arms around her grounded her. "Welcome home," Mia whispered, and Ellie knew it was true. New York City hummed with energy, its chaos both overwhelming and exhilarating. Ellie stood in Mia's apartment, now their apartment, unpacking boxes as sunlight streamed through the window. Mia danced around her, teasing about her packing skills, her laughter filling the small space. This was home, not just a place but a feeling built on trust and love. The first weeks were a whirlwind. Ellie found a job teaching dance at a community center in Brooklyn, her classes filled with kids as vibrant and diverse as the city itself. Mia's schedule with her dance company was relentless, but they carved out time for each other. Morning coffee runs, late-night walks, quiet moments on their tiny balcony. Ellie marveled at how natural it felt, how right. But there were challenges. The city's pace tested Ellie's patience, and she missed her Chicago students. Doubts crept in. Had she moved too fast? But Mia's presence was a constant reminder of why she'd come. One evening, after a long day, Mia found her staring out the window, lost in thought. "You okay?" Mia asked, slipping her arms around Ellie's waist. Ellie leaned into her. "Just adjusting." "It's a lot." Mia nodded, her chin resting on Ellie's shoulder. "I know, but you're doing great. And I'm here." Ellie turned, kissing her softly. "I know." Their life together took shape, a dance of compromise and connection. They hosted dinner parties with Mia's friends, who welcomed Ellie warmly and planned trips back to Chicago to visit her students. Ellie's confidence grew, her identity no longer a secret, but a source of strength. She was out, proud, and in love. In the fall, they returned to Harmony for a weekend workshop, a chance to check in on their ments. Jada was there, now 16, her confidence blooming. She hugged them both, her eyes bright. "You guys are still my favorite," she said, grinning. Ellie laughed, glancing at Mia. "We're pretty fond of you too." The workshop was a success, the campers' energy infectious. As Ellie and Mia taught, their hands brushing during demonstrations, Ellie felt a deep gratitude. This place, this love, had given her the courage to be herself. She looked at Mia, her partner in every sense, and knew they'd built something lasting. Back in New York, life settled into a rhythm. Ellie's classes grew, her reputation as a teacher spreading. Mia landed a lead role in a new production, and Ellie was their opening night, cheering louder than anyone. After the show, Mia pulled her backstage, kissing her in front of the cast. "This is my girlfriend," she said proudly, and Ellie's heart soared. One quiet Sunday, as they lay in bed, Mia turned to her, her eyes serious. "I want to marry you someday," she said, her voice soft but certain. Ellie's breath caught, tears prickling her eyes. "Someday?" Mia grinned.
Yeah.
"When you're ready." Ellie pulled her close, her voice steady. "I'm ready now." They didn't rush to plan a wedding, but the promise hung between them, a future they both wanted. Ellie thought back to that summer at 18, when a lie had brought her to Harmony, to Mia, to herself. The lie had been her cage, but love had set her free. Years later, at another Harmony reunion, Ellie and Mia stood on the stage, now as co-directors of the mentorship program. They shared their story with the campers, not just the love but the struggle, the fear, the growth. Jada, now a college freshman, watched from the audience, her smile wide. "You guys give me hope," she told them later. As the camp closed, Ellie and Mia stood by the lake, the place where it all began. The stars were bright, the air cool, and Mia's hand was warm in hers. "We made it," Ellie said, her voice thick with emotion. Mia squeezed her hand. "We did. And we're just getting started." Ellie looked at her, at the woman who'd seen through her lies and loved her anyway. The lie that had started it all, checking straight on that application, had faded into insignificance. The truth was here, in Mia's eyes, in their shared life, in the love that had become her foundation. They kissed under the stars, the world theirs, and Ellie knew this was her truth, and she'd never hide again.